Not yet.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. I'm just gonna give a brief background of what happened sa morning meeting a while ago. No? Baka kasi magulat kayo, bakit ang tahimik ng first part? So, basically, the first part was just yung showing yung charts of the markets, of what was moving, ganon. So, we have one person, si Lance, preparing yung mga daily reports for US and for Philippines. So what this does is it helps yung mga traders see what are in play. So more on the charts. And then sa second half ng meeting, we had a team-specific presentation. So may isang team per day. They present their observations of the markets, what they think will happen, paano yung risk profile, and after that part, nagrepresent ng company-specific reports. So si Adric yung kanina, I presented about DLO. So every day meron yan bago. So may new trade ideas. So what this emphasizes lang no, is the importance of the trading community. Kasi if you do everything alone, parang mahirapan ka, mapapagod ka eh. But if you have the help of the trading community, uh, it's gonna be easier to see what you can't see, and better than to have a different perspective on the markets. Kasi baka nabubulag ka and just you think you trade based on what you think lang. But if you have others, you have other opinions, you have other views, it's gonna help you trade objectively. So yeah, yun yung nangyari sa morning meeting kanina. Okay, Sheila.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Okay, should we start the live stream 9:59?
Yeah, we can start it now.
Okay.
Okay.
It's loading now.
Okay, we're now live.
Okay, we're live. Pa-check na lang ulit, Sheens. Okay, let's start, guys. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our very first special Friday event. Today, you will get the opportunity to directly learn what life is like as a full-time trader through the perspective of 3 highly respected members and traders of CTS Global. These 3 speakers are very well versed in their own fields through the years of experience. Panelists, if you would be so kind to give a little bit of an introduction about yourselves so that the people watching may get to know you 3 a little bit better and can direct their questions to you accordingly based on your specialties. No? So our first panelist, a financial analyst, Adric Yanga.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Adric Yanga. I am part of Kalum Batch 10 back in 2018. Then I was hired in CTS in January 2019. So I focus more on momentum trading in the US market.
Okay, our next panelist is the head of operations, Richard Pacheco.
Hi everyone. Actually, I'm not the head of operations. I don't know where you got it from. I'm the head of trading for CTS. So I started in before trading. Like most of you guys, I graduated ME from Ateneo. Then started applied for an FMCG job. Got in as an MT. Long story short, it wasn't a good fit for me. So one of my closest friends back then was already trading for CTS, and he introduced me into stocks and the company and the industry in general. Then I applied, then I got in. So basically, I just threw away my 40,000+ salary, which was really big back then, and settled for a 12,000 salary in CTS. So naghirap talaga ako nun, no? So my biggest lesson back then was, for you guys as well, is to quit early. Find what you love, find what you're passionate with, then just build on that, regardless of the salary that you'll be getting at the beginning. No. So what else? So yun nga, a decade later. So I got in pala. Sorry, I got in 2009, which was the low of the market after the Great Recession. No. So bottom talaga yun. As in, that was when S&P was 666. And if you've done your homework, that was the absolute low in 2009 March. So that, but I lost money. I lost money even if I was in the absolute low. So more into detail later, I guess, no. And then so I've been with CTS, ilang years na ba yan? I can't even do the math anymore. 12 years, 12 years with CTS na. And so many ups and downs, no. My primary system, I don't really have a primary system, but I really just follow the FTSR. No? As you will learn later on, mas ano talaga eh. I mean, you start with one, like I don't know, momentum trading, like A-Trick, diba? Then you just learn the rest as you get more experience. No? And when you get more experience, you'll find out that there's really no one system, um, and you have to be very flexible depending on the market sentiment. All right, sige, that was too long. Go, Adric. Hey,
Irvin.
Our
Arvin.
final panelist is a CSR equities trader, Arvin Ang.
Naman yata kami CSR. But yeah, so I'm Arvin. I came into CTS around 2014. And yeah, so I've primarily focused on understanding the sectors around the US. And yeah, more on the rest later, I guess.
Okay, so thank you for your description. So before we start with the live questions, we've gathered questions from all of you guys in advance. So thank you for commenting in your questions. Panelists will be answering the commented questions first before we get to the ones being asked live as promised. So jumping straight into it now. First question was, how long have you guys been trading in CTS? Did you have experience in trading prior to becoming a full-time trader?
Who goes first?
I guess this one can be for anyone, whoever wants to go first. Adric, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned a while ago, I started working in CTS Global back in January 2019. But among the traders in the house, ako yata yung pinakamalayo yung background. So in college, I studied medical technology and I am a licensed medical technologist. Then I attended 1 year of medical school. So one exam week in medical school, I found myself watching one is Baredo video. So I said to myself, ano bang ginagawa ko dito? So yun, after that, I enrolled in Calum and luckily I got hired and the rest is history. Dito pa rin ako 3 years na. Yung may ano pa bang kadugtong na question?
Did you have experience in trading prior to become a full-time trader?
Right before Calum, wala. I was trying to study the market alone. It was really challenging. That's why I was looking for the right community, the right mentors. So I stumbled upon Calum and yun, I went right into it. Nag-apply ako. And that was my thinking before I have to find the right community right away. Yep.
Okay. Chad, do you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, so I already mentioned earlier, no, that I started trading 2009. Prior to that, yun nga, I was an MT at Craft. Maybe I dabbled a bit in mutual funds, no, but that was it. So it was really a leap of faith eh, 'di ba? Kasi wala naman talaga akong alam eh, 'di ba?
Mm.
I had a stable job supposedly, and I had sobrang ano eh, sobrang unknown for me. But I knew I had to do it early. So yun, swerte lang din, no? Kasi at the time, bottom nga yung market, but hindsight naman na bottom yun eh, 'di ba? Maybe similar to what you guys are experiencing right now, 'di ba? After recession, very difficult to find a job. So very lucky na rin that boss had considered me to be one of the traders. Konti lang talagang hires nun. So, yun.
Arvin?
Uh, yeah, so I started in CTS around 2014. Prior trading experience. So I, I I graduated undergrad 2009. So that was like recession. So talagang no jobs, no whatever. So I was lucky enough to get a scholarship while I was studying. So I continued to masters right away, and then so finished in 2012. So during that time, uh, master classes are mostly at night. So my scholarship was in athletics. So I do training in the morning. And then after training, around I know, then I'd start trading after that. Then prepare for class at night. Pero so that's how I got started. And since bottom nga yun nung recession, I actually thought I was good, but I was just lucky na, na bottom siya nun. Right? So I remember getting yung mga Mega World at like 40 cents. And then, so, and then holding it until mga 120, and then triple your money, right? So uh, that's how I got hooked, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the second question. What got you guys interested in the industry? So let's go in the same order na lang just so it's easier.
Okay. So, ayun nga. Same with Arvin, to be honest, to be frank. I really wanted to make money right away at that time in my life, nung nasa medical school ako. So, yun, primarily interested in making money, to be honest. But later on, you would realize na trading is not as simple as making money. It involves it's a mental game, and you have to really be systematic, which that process I appreciated that, and yun till now parang gusto ko siyang gawin every day. So yun.
All right. So for me, what appealed to me talaga back then was the prospect of freedom. Eh. Kasi um, when I was with craft, it was in an 8 to 5 job. But sometimes that would I would stay until 12 a.m. at the office. Tapos Paranaque pa yun, I live in QC. Grabe pa traffic back then. They were building the elevated U-turn in C5. So it was really very, very frustrating, very difficult for me. I also didn't like the politics. Kasi if you're in a FMCG nga, ang daming sip-sip eh. Sorry for the lack of a better word. No? Daming kailangan sip-sip na gawin in order to get noticed. And I didn't like that toxic environment. No? So when I found out about CTS and trading in general, yun nga, financial freedom, 'di ba? You basically control your time, you control your whatever you want to do, 'di ba? Although back then iba rin eh kasi Philippines pa lang ngayon same. Kasi for a time it was up to 3 3:15, di ba? Ngayon 12 ulit. But I won. Back then 12. Tapos yung Hong Kong, like there was a 12-hour, 2-hour break, lunch break, di ba? So ang sarap ng buhay noon, di ba? Um, comparing it with my FMCG life. So that was what attracted me back then. Obviously not the money per se kasi sobrang step down eh, 'di ba? But as later on, syempre as you gain more experience, as you gain more skills in trading, 'di ba? It can be financially rewarding as well. So, yan.
Sorry, the question was what got me into
What got you interested in the industry?
so and so like I said, like I graduated in 2009. So you have like the question like is why is there no jobs? What caused the crash? Right. So you go through the process and understanding, oh, it's because some traders bought a lot of collateralized debt obligations and all of that. Right? So um, you had to understand why it happened. So it got me hooked into what finance was, and then um, how to make money out of it. Right. So I had family influence, and so I was lucky.
Okay, on to the third question. What are your trading styles? What do you guys look for in the issues you'll trade?
Go na, ako pa rin.
Yeah.
Yep, right now, as I mentioned a while ago, I focus on momentum trading, specifically in the US market. So what I'm looking for, number one, are stocks in play or sectors in play. I think that's important based on my experience. Dapat yung sector talaga may in play because it helps because the volume flows sa kanila. If not sector in play, I'm looking for alpha stocks because sometimes minsan hindi na sa sector, nasa may catalyst lang yung single stock. So I think that's important for my style of trading, which is momentum. Dapat nandoon lang talaga yung volume and price. So basically that's it because my approach is bottom up. So I look for the sectors and the stocks in play first before I look at other things. Yep.
All right. So like I said earlier, no, I don't really have one specific system, but I stick to the FTSR framework. Maybe what I gravitate towards to the most siguro position trading na rin. No, kasi well, one thing you'll find out is you need to stick to your strengths, no, as a trader before you can even settle on a system. So for me kasi it's one of my biggest strengths is pattern recognition. Not just technical patterns, but really piecing everything together and seeing it play out, no? And that's yun yung key sa position trading, diba? I mean, the work really begins not even when nandun na yung setup eh. Nandun na yung pattern. But prior to that, you have to do the due diligence already with the companies and stuff, no, before even uh, executing. And that's what I enjoy doing, compiling the pieces. No? And then, yun, bili na lang. Diba? And then, just execute. Yep.
So for me, I focus primarily on the US, and my focus is finding the correlations between the different sectors and why they're moving. So whether it's currency, commodities, interest rates, and then connecting it to why that sector is in play, and not just like sometimes because you'll see a stock just move and then you'll find random stories that justify it. But most of the time, you'll find that it's correlated to something bigger than than just what media is printing. So that's how I try to find the trades, and then you try to find the best mode to profit out of it.
Okay. Next question is, can you describe your learning curve? How long did it take you to be good at what you do, and what would help boost your learning curve?
Okay, describe my learning curve. So right now I'm in my third year of my trading career. So I would say that I'm not yet good at what I do. I think it's an everyday process of getting better. But yun nga, I wouldn't say that I'm good at what I do, but I would say that I am better than last year. I am better than the previous years. So yun, constant process lang. If getting better, 1% a day is better. So what would, ano ba yan? What would
What would help
help
boost your
boost your learning curve? So as I mentioned a while ago, you should find a community and mentor, or the right community and the right mentor for you, because that's really important. Because I treat my mentors or my seniors as yung parang resource ko sila, because it spares me kung napapanood ko yung mistakes na ginagawa nila. Parang yun na yung experience ko. Pero you still can't avoid making mistakes, but at least may mental preparation ka when that mistake is right in front of you. So yun, it would really help you if you're in the right community. That's my advice.
Yeah. So, well, see, Adric answered it well already, you know. So I think that I have the same answer, but the thing in our industry, in the stock market, is everything is moving so fast. So there's really no learning curve. Like the curve is always shifting, right? If you blink, wala na, iwan ka na. So you have to have that mindset na you have to be constantly learning, finding out the new trends, diba? In our industry. So it's tough, diba? Kasi you say at one moment, I'm sure to the more experienced ones out there, magkaka moment kayo, oh, gets ko na. Then you make a lot of money, then the next week back to zero ka, and even negative, diba? So that's just the way things are in our careers, no. So yeah, you just have to have that mindset na you have to remain humble and always learn, diba? So nasagot na ni Adric most of the tips, no? So Corbin.
Same actually. So process is actually long and grueling, right? So especially like ako, I like to read a lot. So what happens is you stick to the book, you follow what you read, right? And then you find out that it's not everything is there, right? And then you have to learn a lot of things that come along with that. So in our I would consider this like a craft, right? And similarly, like if you listen to a lot of like famous chefs and all of this, they'd always say that they're still getting better, right? So they're learning something new every day, and I think that's the mindset.
Okay. Next question is, how do you balance your time considering the work from home environment, and how much time is spent for your work, family, and rest, etc.?
To be honest, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was challenging adjusting to work from home, because for how many years I was used to traveling bahay office. So the adjustment was I cannot separate my work from my mindset sa bahay, kasi yung room ko, that's where I work as well. So what I did, actually wala wala naman, inimprove ko lang yung trading setup ko, and treated work from home as an opportunity, kasi nga nawala na yung travel time mo to go to the office eh. It's an opportunity to you have extra time to bond with your family. So what worked for me was ako nagsischedule talaga ako ng family activities eh. So especially on the weekends, yun, kahit sa bahay lang, we spend time together, and strictly no charts policy ako sa weekends. Then sa weekdays naman, my daily routine, of course, before the markets, it's all about mental preparation. I got this from Chad nung nagsa-start pa lang. Si Chad is always nasa Bloomberg mental prep. So yun, important may mental prep before the market. That's for the morning, PH and Hong Kong markets. Then in the afternoon, preparations naman for the US market. Yun. Then may daily team meetings din kami. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. It's part of the mental preparation. So for me personally, all the preparation and hard work happens before the market. That's why I spend more time preparing than the actual execution. Kasi ako, when I'm executing already in the US, I'm not the type that yung mabilis yung reflexes ko, and I get sometimes emotional. So lahat naka-ready na sa Excel ko where I will cut, where I will enter. So it's almost pre-planned everything before the market. That's why it's very important for mental preps.
Again, same with Adric, no? The work really happens before the market. The thing with me kasi is, yun nga, I just react in the market kasi alam ko I've done my preparation already. So that's very critical for me. Di ako pwede mag-hesitate. So that can only work if you've done the work prior to the trading hours. Work-life balance doesn't no such thing for me. Yun ang I need to improve on that, no, kasi I do have a family, I have a daughter. I try to spend as much time with her. But to be honest, even when I'm playing with her, iniisip ko yung positions ko, di ba? So it's very difficult to separate, di ba? I mean honestly, I need to work on that. No? So I mean, I think it's the same issue with most traders, 'di ba? Trading kasi addiction eh. Addiction talaga eh, 'di ba? Yun. So even if you don't have the gambling mindset, you can't stop thinking about it talaga, 'di ba? I mean, thinking about your current positions, the next plays, 'di ba? How much you're gonna make in this play, 'di ba? How much you're gonna lose, ganyan. So very 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 difficult and challenge talaga siya even for me who's been trading for a while.
My wife calls it living at work, right? So instead of working from home, right? So, yung especially like ako, I trade primarily the US. So, you're awake until 2. Depende kung gaano karaming hawak. So like pag maraming kang hawak, minsan hindi ka makatulog hanggang na-close yung market, right? So, then you wake up, start na ng morning meeting ng 8, right? So, work-life balance, non-existent, I guess. So I also have a son, so I try to sneak a lot of like having the ability to work from home is at least if he wants to, he can stay beside me on occasions. He knows what an up chart looks like now and what a down chart what shorting charts look like, right? So on weekends, I do a report every Monday, so I have to do that on weekends, right? So cannot do a no charting weekend. So what I do is on weekends, when my son is awake, I try to play with him on weekends, and then when he takes his nap or when he's asleep at night, then I start working, and so yun. On a normal day, yeah, so morning meetings, afternoon meetings, right? On occasion, couple more, right? Depending on the need. So yeah.
Okay, sorry. In contrast to the last question, how did you guys balance your time before COVID?
Before COVID. Grabe before, I can't remember. Kasi, grabe yun, parang robot na yata kami before, lalo na yung first year of trading ko. Nag-i-intraday trading ako, not focused on momentum trading. So I was up later than usual traders sa US. So I'm trying to balance. Meron kasing gym sa TechTite, sa building where we work. So I would say yun yung attempt ko in trying to balance work life. Pero parang hindi naman siya effective. So parang napagod na ako lalo. So I would say, ngayon sa work from home, medyo may work-life balance. Before, parang it was more work talaga because I consider yung travel time sa work. So, yun. I like the work from home setup better. Ako lang, personally.
Same, ayun. Di ko na maalala, di ba? Wala rin. No such thing as balance back then. Nothing really changed, di ba? Di ko na maalala. But at least back then there was clear separation, di ba? You're at work, you're at home. When you're at home, your priority is to spend time with your family. at work your priority is to work, diba? So may at least may easier to compartmentalize, diba? Um, and I don't think we'll ever go back to that, diba? So mas relevant yata yung how we deal right now, diba? I don't have an answer to that, clear answer to that. Go, Arvin.
Uh, Traffic was awful. I think that was one of my biggest like may joke yung isang office mate namin dati sa akin, say I live in the province of Caloocan, right? Caloocan, it takes me, depending on traffic, minsan the longest time I got to, it was like 4 hours yata going to the office kasi stuck ako in traffic somewhere in EDSA, right? So uh, on a normal day, it takes me around an hour 45 just to get to the office. And then when you're awake at night in trading the US, it gets, so having to work from home is an increase really in the balance. At least, I get spend at least more morning time with my wife, and then I get my son. So yeah.
Okay, on to the next question. What was the most memorable challenge you had to face in your trading career, and how did you deal with it?
Okay, so I can vividly remember it. It was last year, March 2020. It was the start of the lockdown pandemic na. So, and then, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Shout out sa shout out na lang sa mga guys involved. Pero before ko ikwento yung story, I just like to gusto ko dugtungan yung the most memorable challenge in my trading career became the best thing that happened in my trading career. So, nangyari was, nagkaroon kami ng quarterly meeting for Q1 of 2020. Then, admittedly, it was a bad quarter for me. Performance-wise, numbers-wise, I didn't deliver. So, I own up to that. Part talaga ng game yun. It's part of the learning process. So, to make the story short, yung kasama lang naman sa quarterly meeting was Sir Lawrence and si Boss Edward lang naman. So imagine that, parang walang chance yung numbers mo, then sa kanila ka magre-represent. So after the meeting, it was quiet. Then somebody calls me up and I look at my phone, it's Lawrence Lee. So he never calls you up. He would only message you, dude, are you free? Can we talk? But ngayon, ba't niya ako tinatawagan? So yun, to make the story short, sabi niya, we're not happy with your performance, but we'll give you one more chance and I will work with you to the rest of the year. So from March 2020 hanggang January 2021, every 2 weeks, meron kaming one-on-one sessions. So, nabuhay yung LCL Lawrence C. Lee coaching sessions. So, I would say kudos talaga kay Sir Lawrence kasi sobrang pinagtiyagaan niya talaga ako and some fellow traders. Kaya right now, we're in a better place.
Okay,
Yep.
so before I share my own experience, I just want to add to what AJ said. Kasi maybe the best way to cope with challenges in CTS is really to seek out your mentors, or diba? I mean in our case si Boss, si Lawrence, diba? Kasi sige, on to my experience, no. So back in the dark ages of CTS, so that was 2009, 2010. So very difficult period for me. But maybe yung medyo bottom ko at that time was when I'd gone all in a agricultural stock in Hong Kong. And then the next day, lumabas yung swine flu, tapos nag-placement pa siya. So, syempre, I was crushed, di ba? My account back then was still small. But, syempre, ang laking hit nun sa akin kasi medyo bago, relatively new, and then ang laki ng drawdown, di ba? So, I sought out Boss. I went to boss. Pinento ko yung nangyari sa akin, experience ko. Tapos tinawanan lang niya ako. Can you believe that? You know, maybe boss is different right now, but back then, tinatawanan lang niya yung mga ganong experience. So, my takeaway from that is just have to laugh off your losses. Diba? And learn from it. Learn from your mistake and move on. Diba? No use crying over spilled milk. I mean, yun talaga eh. Diba? You have to be able to move on quickly. Learn to laugh off your losses. And then from that moment on, yun nga, na-realize ko na very, ano naman, diba? I mean, it's very similar experience with Adric, diba? But mas seryoso na yata kay Adric. Pero sa akin, yun nga, tinawanan lang ako, tapos tinulungan ako to improve, diba? To work on my trading. Diba? So, yun. So, learn to laugh off your losses, seek out a mentor, for accountability, for you to for a good feedback loop, then you should be okay.
For me, I think I also had something similar. Like tinawagan din ako ni boss eh. But more of like instead of like big losses, I had more of like a stagnant account. Like you keep trying, but you're like trying to break the glass roof, right? So, and you get called into question whether or not you have the capabilities or if it's really for you, right? So, that's I remember that talk very vividly, and I still think about it, right? So, how you get better is so you get an accountability partner. Like I have a couple of traders that I talk to consistently, and always learn, right? So today information is very readily available, like sobra, in terms of where you get your information from, and so keep learning and you try to get better.
Okay. Next question is, what advice would you give to the interns who want to start actively trading?
Okay, I guess. Okay, so number one advice, I would say that if you want to start trading, start now, start small, and learn first before you earn, because if somebody tells you na start ka ngayon, akong bahala sa'yo, kikita ka kaagad. Scam, it's a scam. Kasi matatalo ka talaga before, especially when your knowledge is not yet there. So it's important that you learn the basics first. So with that, I think ito yung advice talaga ni boss if you have watched the pre-internship modules. Yung parang it's really an advantage if you find someone na mag-support ng trading career mo. Ideally, yung not your money involved sa yung tinitrade mo sa trading account, because it's really different when you're trading, then doon mo ina-expect yung monthly expenses mo. It's very hard. I think some people or very few people make it work, but at the end of the day, medyo attitude rin si Miss Market eh. So you really wouldn't know eh. So that's my advice. Start now, start small and learn. And find somebody to support your trading career. If none, okay lang. Sa'yo muna. Basta start small. And if better na may active stream of income ka, if you have your own business or employed ka, yun. So wag mo lang i-depend solely on your trading profits. Yep.
Yeah, same. Definitely skin in the game, diba? You need to bet a little and feel the pain. Ako, I'm really not a fan of paper trading. So well, for some people it works, but for me, I have a different mindset towards that, diba? You need to execute. You really need to feel the pain, diba? Kahit you don't have to bet a lot, like Adric said, no? But you need to bet a little, diba? Kasi if you're always hesitant, diba? Your psychological wallet or your appetite for risk will never increase. Diba? And with that, you can never scale in trading. Diba? In order to scale your trading in our industry, to be able to handle large accounts, you have to have skin in the game talaga. Diba? Um, uh, Yun, I think you just start, diba? I mean, all of you are in the first step, there or before the first step, but at least nandun na kayo, diba? You're on the right path already. But all the knowledge, all the things that we're teaching you, will be to waste if you don't act on it, diba? So, yun lang.
For me, I think you can Google exploration exploitation. So if you want to do this, try to explore as much of like trading. There's so many ways to skin the cat: position trading, scalping, momentum swing, right? So exploration exploitation means explore as many things as possible, find the right fit for you, and then exploit it as much as you can. And it takes time to find that one that fits you. So, the earlier you start exploring, the better.
Okay, these next few questions will be directed specifically for each of you. So this first question will be for Chad only. How many years of trading did it take you to become a profitable trader? And what was the main reason you were not a profitable trader in the past?
Okay, so maybe a couple of years, maybe 1.5 years. I can't really remember. But I do remember the biggest hindrance. Um, well, like I said, I came from Ateneo, MP, graduated with a lot of pride, mayabang, di ba? I mean, I'm sure lahat kayo mayabang. But that comes with the that comes with the pedigree, I guess, di ba? Pero that's the thing with our industry, di ba? Well, in college, you get rewarded with perfection, di ba? Tama yun, di ba? But in stocks, you're rewarded with humility, di ba? And that's yun yung the most the turning point that for me, 'di ba? Bawal mayabang talaga in trading, 'di ba? So ako since then, school background mo doesn't matter. 'Di ba? Maybe the more gritty you are, kung may chip on your shoulder ka, 'di ba? Regardless of where you come from, yun yung biggest key talaga. So even if you come from a privileged background, 'di ba? You shouldn't uh, think na automatic kikita ka na ng pera, 'di ba? It's really a grind, 'di ba? Everyday fight talaga yan. And yun, so you have to empty your, palagi sinasabi ni boss, favorite ni boss, yung Dalai Lama ko, 'di ba? Empty your cup. Palagi din sinasabi yan. And you really should empty your cup, 'di ba? Ako, I mean, if you're planning to apply for CTS, there's a big chance that I'll interview you, di ba? So, expect na wala sa akin ng background. Diba? Everyone is at ground zero for me. So, kasi that's how I learned din eh. Diba? So, I'm just drawing from my own experience. Yun.
Okay. This next question is for Adric only. How did you become a prop trader, and what steps should we take after we graduate if we also want to be a prop trader?
Okay, based on my personal experience, I attended KLUM back in 2018 because yung in-attendan ko na program was a KLUM recruitment program. So I was qualified to be in a pool of qualified ako mag-apply for CTS Global after you attend KLUM. And I think another way to become a prop trader or at least become part of the community is yung internship program yung. So going back to my case, yun, I attended KLUM, then applied for CTS Global. After which, nung nasa CTS na ako, I took the CSR uh, equities trader exam. Then I passed the 2 stages as well. So I guess yun yung technical answer to the question. Yep.
Okay. Next question is for Arvin only. How do you know what trading system is best fit for you?
I think I mentioned that earlier, right? So it's exploration, exploitation. It's understanding yourself. So sometimes you get to know yourself better through trading. You find out the nuances, like yung bata ka pala, mahilig kang mag-save. So, or you're more gambling type of person. So more short term versus more long term. Diba? So you don't really know until you explore yourself and you explore the trading side, and then you find out which one fits you best.
Okay. This one is back to for all three of you. What advice can you give traders that cannot hold on to their winnings, i.e., selling too early?
Parang tinamaan ako dun. Hindi, pero I guess it's a matter of it depends on your system and your trade objective to begin with. So, and again, trade objective, system, and replicability. Can you repeat the trade? So, kung yung trade objective ko is to momentum trade or just to scalp the trade, then kapag na-hit yung target price ko and I sell everything, I'm okay with that. But if my trade objective is to trend follow, trade objective is to hold on to your position, then nag-sell half ka, doon ka mafo-FOMO because hindi mo sinunod yung plan mo. But ako personally, I know myself, siguro si boss kasi parang ganun din yata, nagbebenta siya ng maaga. Yun, ganun ako personally. So, I built my system around that. Yung kahit konting galaw pa lang, konting angat pa lang ng stock, yung dollar value na kikitain ko is already enough for me. So, for my case, na yung trade objective ko na mabilisang trade lang, I'm okay with that. But if yung trend follow case ka nga, then napaaga yung benta mo, I guess the issue there is your confidence in your system. So you have to build on that. If yun man yung problema, how do you build on your confidence? Walang secret to that. It's always the reps. Trade ka lang ng trade and parang gym lang kapag ilang reps ka, dun ka mag-i-improve. And I guess back test, forward test, experience lang talaga magtuturo sa inyo. And of course, yung mentoring ng community mo. Yep.
Well said, Idrik. Yun na yun. Diba? I mean, you always have to follow your plan. Diba? Syempre, palagi naman may FOMO. Diba? But as long as you follow your plan, you're doing the right thing. Then you just tweak it moving forward. Diba? Kasi, yun nga, the fact that you're saying na you're selling too early means you're not planning well. Diba? Kasi, palagi naman, di mo naman malalaman, hindsight naman lahat yun eh. Diba? So, you just have to tweak nga moving forward, diba? Whatever strategy you're doing, whatever tactic you're doing, then yun nga, sabi ni Adric, you have to practice, forward test, find out what's in play in the market, diba? Ano yung current movement ng stocks, diba? You'll find clues along the way, diba? Like, kunyari, ano yung market environment ngayon? Scalping environment ba? Or trending up, bull market ba? Diba? Then you just adjust your strategy. Diba? Palaging, it's always greener on the other side. Palaging may magandang solution, diba? And palagi rin sinasabi, diba? Buying is a science, selling is an art. Diba? Buying is easy. It's easy. Once you get a hold of the setups, the entry points, the execution, everything is easy. But selling is always an art, diba? And with art, you really just have to work on it. Diba? Hindi siya exact science ang selling. Kaya nga you have to follow your plan. Diba? Kasi wala naman perfect na selling.
Arvin, do you want to add on to that?
No, that's about it. Yun na rin yung answer, right? So set your expectations, follow the plan, write it down. I think that's write it down. Para it doesn't have to be right. Put it on a Word file para may control F ka, diba? Tapos, and then share it with somebody so that you're accountable to them. So like ako, I do that. I share all my trades, how I plan it with my team. So I try to keep myself accountable.
Okay. Next question is, in your opinion, if you could only choose one segment from the FTSR framework, what would it be and why?
No question. The R segment, the risk segment. No question. I guess you always have to approach every trade risk first. So that's why when we talk about trades, when I talk to a trader or a trader talks to me, ang pinakaunang question is, magkano ba yung risk mo dyan? Magkano yung value at risk mo dyan? Basically, having the mindset of risk first, you've already won one half the battle of the trade for me, because it's the most important and that's one thing that you can control. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yan, same. R talaga, the and the. Big the. Diba? But may kadugtong yun eh. Risk reward. Diba? It has to be proportional. So whatever expectations are, it has to be, your potential reward should be uh, higher than your potential risk. That's it. I mean, whatever process you're using, whatever method, whatever system, boils down to what are your expected returns and what are your expected losses. Diba? And if it makes sense, if you have a positive edge, then you just execute. Diba? Yun na yun.
Same.
Balik pa rin natin yung order, no? Para si Arvin naman mauna.
Yeah,
Wawa
maybe
ni Arvin.
from the next question we can go in the opposite order naman. So, Arvin, you can start us off.
Okay.
So, for the next question, how do you deal with losing streaks, and what do you do to regain the confidence back again?
I'm actually on a current losing streak. So a lot of reviewing on the weekends. A lot of times I think the losing streak stems from like, I think I remember this. I think if you guys listened to the talk that Lawrence gave the other day, he mentioned um, you do your plan, you trade it, and then when you lose, the question is like, is it a good trade, right? Or did you follow the plan? So it goes back to your uh, how do you say this? Your plan is like crap in, crap out, especially with the US, wherein your system is mostly stops coming in, and then you're trading what's written down, right? So if the plan is not good, then wala rin talaga lalabas, right? So you review, you take a look at whether or not you followed the plan. Is the plan good? Did the plan fit the sentiment that it's giving you? And then try to adjust. How you adjust to it is you have that accountability partner to see whether or not you're really doing it right, diba? Or do you have the biases that parang hindi, tingin ko oil is gonna go up to 100. Hawakan natin to. Tapos, it comes out na parang Iran gives you, they open up Iran's oil and then oil sells off, right? So, yung mga ganun. So whether or not the plan is there, and then you review, and then you understand your system better, and then you adjust.
Ako na, no? Really, it's just the numbers game mentality. Diba? As long as you know that you have a positive edge, you just have to keep trying. Diba? Yung sabi na ni Arvin, if you think it's a good trade for you, just have to keep trading. Diba? You have to fight it out. Diba? Ganun talaga buhay. Diba? You have to keep shooting. Pag si Kobe back then, alam niya positive expectancy, alam niya 45% siya every pasok, every diba? 45, the free throw 90%. So you can't tell him not to shoot kasi positive expectancy siya. And you just have to have the same mentality in trading, diba? Mamba mentality. Diba? As long as you know you have a positive edge, you're following your plan, you have to keep shooting, diba? And at some point it will uh, turn out good for you, di ba? Magpo-positive din yan, but it will even out over time, di ba? But I understand that it's very difficult, especially if you're starting out. When you're in a losing streak, parang ano ba, para sa akin pa ba to? Am I doing the right things or not? Trading requires a lot of faith din, di ba? In ourselves, in our community, di ba? So you just have to have the right community rin, the right mentor to guide you nga, sinabi ni Arvin, di ba? But yun nga, pag medyo experience ka na, sanay ka na, o losing streak ako ngayon, okay. Winning streak ako ngayon, okay. At some point, matatalo na ako, diba? So it goes both ways din. But make sure, bottom line, you have positive edge, diba? So, yun.
Yep, just to add what Chad said, if you know your numbers, your historical numbers, if you have your data, your backtested data, your current data, and basta you know that your system has an edge, it's important to keep on shooting. So, just for example, just alam niyo naman na, for example, 40 hit ratio mo usually, and yung edge ratio mo is around 2 to 3. So, say for example, out of 10 trades, nasa losing streak ka na 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losing, and you stop trading, eh yung next 4 trades mo pala, winners mo na. Kasi that's the hit ratio eh. You really do not know when the winning trade comes. What's important is you are consistent with how you execute, how you trade. You're consistent basically with your system, and be confident enough to understand if sinusunod mo naman lahat ng plan, and sabi nga ni Arvin, you have to review. Tingnan mo muna anong cause ng losing streak na yan. Is it an issue with planning? Is it an issue with execution? Is it an issue with review? But kung okay naman lahat, wala kang ginawang mali, it's just hindi lang binigay sa'yo yung win, it's part of the game. So you have to understand that. Pero kapag yung sentiment na rin talaga, it's another story, you have to step aside. But other than that, keep on shooting lang because the numbers will add up. What's important is hindi ka susuko sa system mo. Then what do I do to regain my confidence? Yun, sinabi nga ni Arvin and Chad, it's important that you're in the right community and you have the right mentors. So shout out to my seniors and to my team, JP and RJ, Bea and Dre. So I always talk to them and keeping my sanity. Ano bang nangyayari? Ano bang ginagawa kong mali? So they would say na okay lang yan, okay lang yan. Trade ka lang ng trade. So yun. So yeah, that's my answer.
Next question would be, is working as a trader something you look forward to doing up until you guys are 60 years old?
Ako ba una? Right.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mentioned family earlier as a reason why like this I was in this field. I remember this. When I started working in CTS. So I was also visiting yung grandfather ng brother siya ng grandfather ko. So I was there. He was 96 years old, bedridden, right? But he knew every single price of the PSE stock the day before. That was a Saturday. That was a Sunday. So yung lahat ng prices nung Friday, memorize niya. He's 96, and he was telling me like what the business was, why this one would go higher and whatnot. And I was just starting, and I was like, how is he so sharp at 96? So I think 60 is a limit that you give yourself. Like Warren Buffett is 90, Charlie Munger is 97, right? And when you listen to compounding is the eighth greatest wonder of the world, right? So you have to continue, and 60 is just a limit that you give yourself.
Yeah, definitely until I die, diba? So, I mean, even at the point na mag-retire na ako from CTS or whatever, diba? I mean, it's a life skill anyway, diba? You have to keep using it. Saka, yung sinabi rin ni Arvin, I think it keeps you sharp as well. I think also one of the reasons why your grandfather lasted until that ripe old age because he kept him his brain sharp.
Mhm.
Diba? Ang problema kasi once you retire for some um, people, parang magla-languish na. Parang you just wanna chill, you just wanna relax at the beach. Diba? Wala na masyadong iniisip. Diba? But if you're a trader, you'll always be a trader. And you'll always be sharpening your mind even without realizing it. Diba? Kasi you want to be up to date with the trends, with what's happening in the world, developments, diba? Ano yung presyo ng mga stocks, diba? So I think it also contributes to, I mean, it's stressful, but it also contributes to longevity, I guess. I
Hopefully.
don't know, but yeah, until I die.
Yep. Ah, same. Same. I would trade up to 60 and even more. Parang ang scary part nga ngayon kasi yun nga, I have to stop looking at charts sa weekend. Parang kasi it's something that I really want to do. Parang pigilan mo ako, pigilan mo ako. Iba naman, do something else. Makipag-bonding ka with family. So, it's not a matter of kung magsa-stop ba ako mag-trade. Parang, paano ko ma-stop sarili ko mag-trade. Ganun yung na-feel ko ngayon. Yun lang. I think I love it enough para gawin ko hanggang 60. Yep.
Next question. So, have you guys watched any documentaries or films that have helped you drastically improve your trading? And if so, can you recommend them to the interns?
Documentaries that improve your trading.
Documentaries or shows, films, series, anything that you've watched that you feel have really impacted your outlook on the market or the way you trade?
Not really. Well, like The Big Short, ganun.
Could
Uh,
be also. Could be.
yeah, so there are a lot of uh, ang mahirap kasi sa documentaries is like they're not real time. It takes time for them to make it. So like, you get The Big Short after like 5 years or something, right? So the information doesn't really help you on a day-to-day basis, but it helps you like when you're starting off. Yeah, it helps you like mga Big Short kanyan to understand what happened, that they explain it to you, right? But in terms of you have like YouTube and other stuff that give you content daily, right? That you can just search it on YouTube, right? So uh, I can give a list, like whether it's Ray Dalio, Stan Druckenmiller, right? Aswat Damodaran, diba? Uh, if you want to follow even the new ones like sila Chamath, you can look for the All In podcast on Spotify, diba? So there's if you want to improve yourself, there's like Chat with Traders, diba? Or SMB Capital is there, diba? So uh, I think more than the documentary series, more of these, I think.
None in particular talaga. Just the more inspiring ones, well, inspiring, more Wall Street, diba, before, or Dalawang Wall Street, more entertainment value for me, I guess. But yung what can directly help you nga as a trader, um, wala rin talaga eh. So, yung sinabi na ni Arvin yung resources, um, siguro yung CTS videos. I mean, if you have access to that. Yan. Either.
Yep, same for me. Wala eh. Wala. Yung Big Short lang yata yung napanood kong trading movie, but wala namang didn't help me in my career in any way. So um I would say na mas may impact for me yung mga CTS videos nga, like yung coaching sessions with Sir Lawrence. And before ako nasa CTS, I would watch yung local traders, the money growers, guys in Instagrams. And it's free content eh. So it's up to you if you consume it. And yun nga sabi ko before nag-exam ako sa medical school, I was watching Juanis Barredo. So yun, just have to make the most out make the most out of the resources available. Yep.
Okay. For the next question, how do you handle boredom during market hours when there is nothing to trade? And how do you build your patience while waiting for a plan to materialize?
Boredom. Boredom. Parang never nangyari yung boredom. uh, I just gave you a list of resources, right? So to have boredom, it means sobrang imposible yun. Kasi like, money will always flow somewhere. So there's always a bull market somewhere. So whether you're able to find it or not, that's on you. Diba? So um, I try to do this every weekend. Kahit yung weekly lang na move where it goes. So if it goes to appreciation in currency somewhere, you know that country is doing well. Like Brazil in the last week is doing well. Diba? And then whether or not it goes into oil, crypto, currencies, stocks, bonds, it will move somewhere. And if you're bored, find it. Diba? So I think that's for me. So like I spend my time a lot in looking at these, watching economists, watching videos, and trying to understand where it is. So yeah.
Yeah, there's always a bull market out there. If you're bored, you're not doing the work. That's the bottom line. Diba? So maybe the past few months mahirap sa local, sa US, pero bull market ang crypto. Diba? Ang swerte ng generation ngayon because you have access to everything. It's easy to buy anything, diba? So any type of security you can buy with eToro, IB, or every other platform out there, diba? Nung time namin, nung bagong pasok kami, baka nabobore pa kami kasi hindi naman madali mag-access eh. Limited kami to what we have, which is local Hong Kong. IB was very difficult back then to access. But ngayon, all you need is a smartphone and an ID. Then you have an account. Diba? So it's not an excuse that you're bored. You have to, pwede siguro na sidelines ka kasi walang pasok sa system mo. I mean, that's an excuse. But if you're just bored, then hindi yun, mali yun.
Okay. I guess ano ko lang yung perspective na when you're at the market hours na talaga and hindi nag-execute or hindi pa dumarating yung entry point mo. So, yun, na-experience, it's a normal experience na you have your plan, andyan na, then walang nati-trigger. And you find a stock that's moving, uy, mukhang pwede to. Then you trigger that stock, not within your plan. So, ang mangyayari, I personally experienced that trading a stock outside my plan, yun pa yung matatalo. Doon ako pinaka napipikon. So, if you're bored and look for other stocks that's not in your trading plan for the day, magsisisi ka. But I'm not stopping you. Baka maka-jackpot ka. Pero in hindsight, studying my trades, I'd rather be bored than lose in a trade na hindi ko pinagplanuhan at all. So you learn it through experience. How do you build your patience? Okay, it's part of the game eh. Lalo na sa US, IB, you have your stops naman. Kapag dumating yung presyo, matitrigger ka naman eh. So it's not a problem, I think. With experience, nawawala yung boredom. Pero I can't blame the new traders kapag naiinip sila and hahanap ng ibang opportunities. That's normal. But as you gain your experience, you'd understand the value. You'd appreciate that less is more. Yep.
Okay. Next question is, do you guys have any tips to improve your edge ratio?
Edge ratio. You have to review. You have to know how much you lose on average, right? So then you can work with the numbers. You have to, so review your numbers, and then you find out how much your average loss is, and then you can build a plan, right? Like what is consistent, diba? What is repeatable, and then you trade that one.
Sorry, just to follow up also on that question, I guess to help you guys clarify that a little, is no, what is your process for when you guys review your past trades also?
Uh, so you review it based on you rank your trade based on the plan that you made, right? So how much of the plan did you follow? How much of it materialized? So you question your idea generation, and then you your execution, right? So of that one. So that's how I try to see. That's how I review my plans.
Yep. In CTS, we review our trades at the end of the day, every day. With kami with my team. No? So it helps to have different perspectives as well. Kasi if you're just relying on yourself, very difficult kasi wala kang feedback loop eh. Diba? Very important to have a soundboard or someone to help you find ways to improve your trading. Diba? There's no exact way. It's really just being mindful nga, diba? Na always mindful kahit na hindi mo nakikita, 'di ba, na how much are you losing on average, how much are you making on average, then you just try to limit your losses talaga, 'di ba? I mean, yung sakit sa start palagi is you want to at least break even. You don't want to lose. You don't want to take a loss, 'di ba? I mean, yun ang sinasabi ko nung una, 'di ba? Biggest hindrance is your pride. Uh, you have to be humble enough to take na talo ka, na mali ka, 'di ba? Na meron kang ginawang hindi wala sa plano mo, 'di ba? And then just take the loss. Until now, I still make mistakes like those na hindi ako papatalo, 'di ba? But as you learn over time, magle-lessen yung sakit na yan, 'di ba? But alam mo naman kasi you will know when you're wrong. Alam mo na agad eh. Um, when you're trading first few minutes, first few hours, first day, parang mali na to. You feel it in your gut na mali ka na eh kasi you've already put in the work. Is parang may mali akong nakikita. You just have to follow that. And same, as long as you control your losses nga na ganon, the profits will just uh, follow. Diba? And over time, your edge would improve as well. I think yung one, I would just want to single out din yung sentiment eh, diba? Kasi um, your your edge really changes based on the current market sentiment. When it's a trending bull market, diba, you'd expect higher edge ratios. When it's a sideways to a bear market, you'd expect na sobrang liit lang na edge mo. Diba? So you have to be more picky, diba? And finding out what market sentiment we're currently in right now, very difficult to do by yourself na. So you have to rely on a team, you have to rely, sa amin si Arvin, nag-report niya every week, diba? So that really helps gauge the sentiment. And then you just have to plan it out. Um, what else? Yun. Frederick.
Yep, basically that's it. Just to add lang. Ako personally sa system ko right now, yung momentum setup, it's easier kasi to reverse engineer the execution in a way that may edge ka talaga. So what I do, sometimes I tighten my risk, but it's important. If gusto mo gawin yun, it's okay as long as invalidated na talaga yung trade. But what's more important is you do it consistently because masisira yung essence ng numbers mo eh. If you execute a different way today and different na naman the next day. Then, how do I review? So, I try my best to review Monday morning kasi wala nga sa weekends eh. I look at all the trades, meron ba, and I look at the issues sa mga, even the winners, tinitingnan ko, tama ba, nanalo ba ako in the right way or chumamba lang talaga ako. So, I also look at the losers, bakit ba ako natalo? Did I lose the right way? Or kung nagkaroon ako ng black swan, could I have controlled it? Is it a result of my negligence or is it's out of my hands? Kapag nag-tweet bigla si Elon Musk, nag-gap down yung Tesla, wala ka talagang kasalanan, wala kang magagawa. But kapag may isang trade ka na earnings pala and the results came out after market, then that's not a black swan, that's negligence on your part. So that's part of the review, and it's very important to review your trades and look for what issues na kailangan i-adjust, because as you go through yung trading career nyo, parang nitpicking na lang eh. Minsan, konting tweaks na lang ma-feel mo, malapit na, sobrang lapit ko na. I just have to adjust this, I just have to adjust that. But you have to figure out alin ba yung i-adjust ko. And you'll find it in your ledger. The answer to your question is all in your trading ledger. That's why you have to make your trading ledger. It's very important. Yep.
Okay. Now the next question for you guys is, what is your process for screening stocks in general before market?
Local chart everything. So US, have a so US we have a screener for so I have a screener for momentum. I have a screener for coils. I have a screener for pullbacks. So I chart all of that. So whether it's 800 or 1,000 charts on a day, then you just chart it. And then manual yung chart ng mga iba, like yung mga sectoral and yung what's moving under that. Pero yeah.
Yeah. Several screeners, no, sa trading. You can use TradingView or stock charts. Personally, I do both stock charts and TradingView. For stock charts, yung mga ADX. So anything above 25 to 30, diba? Yung automatic meron ka na. And you'll get a feel na rin on what's in play based on that. The second one is TradingView. If you want to screen out volume, you can screen that out. So larger volume. Ngayon kasi very difficult to access Bloomberg eh. And I'm sure all of you guys have difficulty accessing Bloomberg. Bloomberg, madali talaga mag-screen, diba? But if you don't have that resource, you can use stock charts nga. And you can also use TradingView. I use both. I also rely on yun nga, yung mga the reports that like this morning, diba? Every day there's a new company being presented, or every week si Arvin gives out his views, or from time to time my research team comes up with a list, diba? So lahat yan we compile sa team and TradingView as well. So may watch lists yan, organizing everything, diba? And then once I've narrowed down my list to those watch lists, so what's in play, what's trending, and what are the favorites of the company, I just chart everything. Sa local, similar with Arvin, I chart everything. Kasi konti lang naman, 400, not even 400 charts, but all active charts. Well, investograms, I just filter out the volume. Literally, you can filter it out from the highest volume to the lowest volume. I limit myself to up to, let's say, 5 million volume. Tapos iniisa-isa ko yun hanggang 5 million. Then I just look at what's trending, ano yung may setup, what's interesting to study. Yun. So, 3 yun. Well, 4. One is TradingView, stock charts, investograms, then mga in-house namin.
Yeah, basically, same with Arvin and Chad. So, especially sa US, it's easier to screen. So, since bottom-up approach nga ako, I look at volume first. Yun yung pinaka-screener namin. Kami rin as a team, we have our very technical screener. Then, from there, we will look if there are sectors in play nga. And then, before execution, we study the stocks that we are going to execute. Hindi lang, you don't go blind na trigger ka lang ng trigger. It's very difficult kasi nga malay mo may earnings na. So yeah, basically that's the process, and the challenging part is the building your screening system process at the beginning, but when you get used to it, it becomes a routine already. So parang ginagawa ko yung screening ko at the morning. So pagka-afternoon, ready na yan for discussion. So meron din kaming scoring system in our screeners. which ones we like to prioritize. So yun. Yep.
Okay, we have one last question from the comments before we start taking the live questions. So when executing your trades, do you look at the bids and asks? If so, which situations do you normally look at them and take them into consideration?
I trade primarily the US, so mostly I have stops. So you're gonna have to ask Chad.
Yep, Chad.
Same. In the US, you don't look at the bid and ask unless you're purely in the US yata may mga talagang scalpers and like a level 2 type of yung bid and ask nga is important. But for us no, US no, Hong Kong depende. Hong Kong and local more important because you're looking at liquidity. If you're looking to buy or looking to sell a large amount, you need to look at them. Um, like sa local, sige, share ko na lang din. Sa local, need to see the bid and ask kasi pag maglabas ako ng shares, magbebenta ako, paglabas ko lahat yan, babagsak yan. Pag bibili ako, ganun din. Akyat, for bigger accounts like mga account nila boss, ganun din. Kailangan mo makita kasi pag di mo gamitin yun, mapa-front run ka. Um, so very so yung daming nuances kasi per market but mas importante siya sa local lang. But if you don't, yeah, yun. And if you're a front runner, meaning you want to front run the bigger, there's always a bigger whale out there, diba? Bigger fund or bigger institution, and you can spot their footsteps, diba? You can front run. You need advantage if you're small. So it doesn't mean you're big, you have an advantage. If you're small, you also have an advantage. And that's your advantage. Diba? But this only comes after FTSR. Oh, tingnan mo yung bid and ask. Diba? So that's just an additional complementary tactic that you can use. But it's more for those who want to manage liquidity. And who wants to accumulate or who wants to distribute shares. Mas importante.
Yep, ako US talaga yung primary market ko. So stops lang, no issue in liquidity. So si Chad talaga was the right person to answer that question.
Okay. So interns, the floor is yours. If you would like to ask any questions, now's your chance. Please just raise your hand so we can go systematically. If you are watching from the Facebook live stream, please just leave your comments there so the panelists will be able to answer whatever question it is that you guys have. Don't be shy, guys. Feel free to ask your questions if there's anything that hasn't been covered yet.
I have one question. So yeah, there's different trading styles, right? Like momentum, trend following. Do you recommend trying out each one like at the same time? Like for example, within these 2 months, I should try trend following lang muna to see if it's for myself, or try all three different styles at roughly the same time.
Adric, maybe you want to answer that?
Yep. Actually, I forgot to mention it. In my first year of trading, we call it the experimental stage. So one whole year, I was experimenting on momentum. I was experimenting on position trades. So to answer your question, yes, it's okay to try out all the different styles in one at the same time, but my risk per trade at that time was not as big as now, because ngayon parang I'm focusing in one system. So your goal in your first year is to try out as much as you can and gather data, so that at the end of the year or at the end of a certain time period, you would have data points so that you can say that, oh, I'm better at momentum, I'm better at position trading, because there are times that a person would prefer momentum trading. So I would say that ay mas gusto ko ang momentum trading, but your numbers do not say that. So kapag ako yung senior mo, I would rather na you'd trade position trading because your numbers say so that you're good at position trading than mag-momentum ka na hindi nag-add up yung results. So yeah, try everything out at the beginning, then you specialize from that.
Yeah, and a follow-up question. So for example, you know you're good at a certain strategy, but then that strategy works well only for a certain environment. But then tomorrow's a different, or like next year's a different environment. So should you stick with that system per in, or should you try out the other systems ulit kahit that's not your best style?
Sige, I'll answer that. The the difficulty if you're starting out is style drift eh. Diba? That's what you're pertaining to eh. And maraming pitfalls yan if you style drift. And it's a never ending process din, diba? Kasi you think one is not working, so you jump again, and you think it's not this isn't working, you jump again, diba? Depending on the sentiment. But definitely if you're starting out, you should stick to one and rely on the community more than ever, diba? Or to rely on your peers to tell you talaga. Diba? I mean, you think this is working or not? What can I do to improve, diba? This is the market environment right now. What can I do? If you're basing it on your own views, own results, then the tendency talaga is to style drift, and that's what you want to avoid. Yun, so definitely rely on a mentor or a team or something to be able to determine whether it's appropriate to move on to a different system or to continue and just grind out whatever you're going through sa current system.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah. Okay, another question. So how do you know your trading system's wrong? Like what would be like, okay, let's say your execution is tama for the sake of argument, but how would you know that your inherent trading system is wrong or it's something else? And yeah, once you figure that out, how should you tweak it? Like, should you tweak it a little lang, or should you change everything?
Um, well, first of all, it takes time to find out, no? So, and enough reps nga. So, paulit-ulit si Adric. So I'd say at least one quarter to smoothen out the numbers, diba? And then like I said, you need feedback, diba? So you have to seek out a mentor. Obvious naman kasi if consistently your edge ratio nga is below it's at if sa simula below 1, diba? May mali kang ginagawa talaga. There are really obvious errors that yung mga low-hanging fruit that you can work on right away, diba? So yung mga, yun nga, yung staying in a losing trade too long, diba? Mga obvious yung mga yan eh. Or more on the risk side, I guess. So over trading or putting in more size than usual, not consistent in your sizing, yan, obvious yan. Diba? But the type of system, yun nga, kung mag-momentum ba ako ngayon, should I buy coils, should I buy patterns, ganyan, and what fits you, that takes, collaboration. So you need to find people talaga uh, to help you determine nga what's your best fit. I guess nakalimutan ko rin sabihin, well, I mentioned it earlier that you need to find out who you are talaga. So you need to find a way to um, kung determine ano yung strengths mo talaga, inherent strengths mo as a person, not even as a trader. Diba? Whether it's kung magaling ka mag-analyze ng statements, kung yun nga, pattern recognition, or what have you, diba? Kung ano talaga inherent strengths mo, then that could also help you determine what system fits you.
Just to add, Chad, that's why you have to review your trades. As I mentioned a while ago, there are a lot of aspects in trade review, identify, execution ba or planning kung saan. Because I think you were asking kapag chumamba lang ba yung edge mo, ganito or whatsoever. But so yun, you have to identify that tama, you're winning the right way and you're losing the right way. And from that, you'll get your numbers and you have to base from the numbers yung and adjustments kapag meron mga adjustments. And kahit ngayon, I still constantly make adjustments eh. So you have to study your trading system and your personality as well.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay,
no definite answer. Yep.
okay, sorry, just a follow-up question. Because like, yeah, parang one suggestion was to explore different styles, but then the other suggestion was don't style drift. So when exploring, what's a better way to explore? For the first month, do only that, or like, can you do it simultaneous, or
Yeah, just to clarify, what I was suggesting a while ago was explore and try other systems sa first part of your career. And then identify which one's your strength. That's what Chad was talking about already. You stick to the that system kung ano man yung strength. Medyo nag-mismatch lang yung messaging namin. But the point was kasi when you're starting trading, you don't have data naman eh. Kung saan ka magaling. So you have to start at somewhere and you have to try different setups. So your first goal is to data gather nga. So Chad, what do you think? Pwede ba yung sabay-sabay na setups at the beginning before you specialize?
Kailangan may enough variety pa rin, di ba? But you can't do everything, di ba? So kailangan may theme pa rin siya. So kunyari, you're talking about momentum, di ba? So you explore the momentum setups. Or if you're position trading, you explore the position setups, di ba? I mean, kailangan may theme pa rin. Hindi pwedeng kunyari may momentum ka tapos biglang magre-reversal ka, di ba? So yun yung exploring the setups within a particular system, di ba? Then you move on depending on kunyari after a quarter and after a peer review doesn't fit you talaga, wala talaga, numbers don't work for you, then you move on, di ba? Yun. So I think we should move on to the next question na, no? Kasi I think we've lingered too much in this question. Si
Okay,
Kobe,
next,
si Mamba
sorry.
may question.
Kobe.
Okay, so a while ago you guys mentioned na sa umaga you guys are working on Philippine markets, perhaps Asia, and then sa gabi it's US. So I was wondering lang where do you find the time to set up to do your research on these? Kasi nga di ba sa US gabi, Asia umaga. So like when do you do the research for each of those markets, and how, and aside from that, where do you do like everything else, no? Like ayun nga, you mentioned some of you guys stay up until like 2 a.m. Naghahabol pa ba kayo ng tulog nun, or like wala na, you just take it na lang? Wala na, 6 hours lang ganun. I'm just wondering that because I'm trying, it's like paano nyo nasa schedule ang research nyo to match with the opening and closing of markets?
Arvin, ikaw sumagot niyan.
Nakikita mo ba yung eye bags namin? I mean, mostly, sabay-sabay. You read, I mean, especially when the plan is already there, well, you're just following the plan and the stops, right? So most of the time you do your research with the markets, right? So same time consuming the news and looking at the other stuff. But, depends, I guess. Like sa akin, a lot of my reporting is on Mondays, but so I put more time during the weekend. I guess like if you're doing yung kasama namin na gumagawa ng daily reports, he has to do it early in the morning, so I guess he sleeps earlier, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question. Can we give Marco?
Hello. how different do you think the Philippine market would be, and what are the necessary steps we need to adjust if and when the SEC allows short selling in the Philippine market?
Tagal pa yan. Tagal pa yan. I mean, they've been promising that for the past 10 years and probably even more than I've been in the market, no? So, um, well, definitely you need to stick to the most liquid ones. Diba? Kasi if you're not, short squeeze ka. Diba? Liquidity is important when you're shorting. So the most liquid, probably stick to the index issues that you want to short. Yeah. Yeah, I think although for me, for the market, very critical na magka-short selling in order for it to be more efficient. If you're a more adventurous type of trader, syempre isi-short mo yung mga basura, di ba? But if you want to dabble into that sector, I'd suggest ano lang yun, day trading lang yun, di ba? Kasi you never know the next day, baka ceiling na yan or meron talaga nangyayari dyan. But bottom line, stick to the index issues if you're gonna short the most liquid ones.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have last two questions from the Facebook live stream from Riz. How many entries and exits do you guys do in a day?
Anyone?
Ako on average sa US, mga kapag aggressive yung sentiment, I would do 3 to 4 if parang volatile yung market or I'm unsure saan ba papunta yung market, 1 to 2. And if wala talaga, edi 0. I'm okay with it. It's all about expectation setting. Kung what do you think, saan ba pupunta yung market tonight. And yun. That's the biggest part. Kaya we have the community as well. Kasi ako, hindi ko specialty yung sentiment. So, yung idea of how to gauge the market, I get it from the CTS community. Then from there, inaano ko sa system ko, ina-apply ko sa system ko by dinadagdagan ko yung number of trades or binabawasan ko. Yep.
Okay, next we have a question from Jason. How many setups do you utilize personally?
Ako? Dami. Lahat. All the Kalum setups. I utilize it. Yun nga, it depends on your experience nga. So, and depends on the market sentiment. Diba? Like, maybe in the US and in Hong Kong, the past 2 weeks, puro mga resets. I'm not sure if you've studied resets already. Yung mga long consolidation after a run-up, like the growth stocks, lahat yan nag-reset eh. From January, February, March into now, lahat yan reset. So it really depends on the market sentiment, but I use all setups nga. But yun nga, going back to the first question, if you're in the beginning, you can't execute all, diba? So stick to a certain theme lang din. So if ngayon puro resets, then stick to the resets or consolidations, diba? Then you just explore within those. Yun.
Okay, next from Gabriel. Is it viable to only buy at discounts?
Kailangan mo si Leonard para sa question na yan.
No. No. Sometimes when there's a discount, nasa laggard ka, di ba? So, and it's very difficult to find mispricing anyway. So it's very subjective din, no? So unless you're relying on someone like the research team, sila Leonard or si Mel, di ba? If you're doing it by yourself, very difficult to find the mispricing, di ba? I mean, you can use it. You can prioritize them, but hindi yun yung one or hindi yun yung yun lang, di ba? Kasi ang tendency especially pag bull market, di ba? Walang mispricing. Usually mispriced negatively pa yan, di ba? I mean, if it's mispriced negatively, mag-short ka, Hindi eh. You try to momentum trade as well, di ba? You try to squeeze it out, di ba? Pero ngayon, I guess kasi lahat nagkaroon na ng mispricing, di ba? Kasi prices have gone down enough to have mispricing, di ba? So, baka ngayon, super relevant siya kasi ngayon makikita mo ano talaga yung pwede, di ba? But doesn't always have to have discounts or mispricing.
Okay, so we have the final question from Ed. What VAR do you use during bull markets, and what about during bear markets?
Idrik.
We have different systems of VAR eh. So ako personally, yung napanood nyo nga yung sa pre-internship module ni Sir Edward, we're allowed, eto parang wala namang specific but technically we're allowed 1% VAR max per trade, especially kaming juniors. Sina Chad, ibang usapan kina Chad eh. So ako personally right now, nasa 1% VAR ako. Kahit last month parang mahirap market, nag 1% na ako din. Ngayon, better sentiment. Sina-standardize ko at 1% eh. So how I mitigate the risk is not by lessening my VAR, is lessening the number of trades that I take during a night. Well, that's just my approach, but I don't know I'm not sure with other traders because hindi naman exactly the same yung trading system namin.
Okay, seems that there's no more questions left. So let's wrap up the event. So thank you again to the panelists for being here today with us. Thank you everyone so much for attending our very first special Friday event. We hope you all enjoyed it, and because we prepared more of these special Friday events till the end of the boot camp. So please keep posted for those. Just another reminder that again, we have another seminar later this afternoon at 2 p.m. with Timothy Quevedo, another member of Team Research who will be deep diving into fundamental analysis. Thank you guys again. Enjoy your lunch, get re-energized, and we look forward to seeing you there later.